Hello and welcome. It is July 22nd, 2025. We have XRP in price discovery. I hope that you got something strong poured up for you tonight because I got a fully stacked show for you. Current events, financial markets, and the greatest transfer of wealth in world history. I have a nice cup of coffee lined up and ready to roll because we're staying locked in tonight here, guys. I am so excited to be here. We weren't able to get out an update this morning. We've been very busy. See, this is the final quarter of the game. This is it. As far as the second half of 2025, this is going to be life-changing. The finishing off of this current cycle and then rolling us into the era of utility. I'm going to be talking about at the end of this show here tonight, what are we going to hold through any potential drawdowns, moving to stable coins? But also, I think that it's being underestimated how many people are actually going to hold XRP as a store of value after this cycle tops out and they're holding Solana. They want to save their soul, so they full port to the XRP ledger. They're holding some other layer 2 on Ethereum that doesn't have any motion or activity. No institutional inflows are coming and they finally give up, capitulate, and full port to the XRP ledger, right? What are you going to be holding? ROUSD? Right, during this moment in time where we finish off the speculation, the rampant speculation, and some might suggest the over speculation in this market, and we hone in on real utility, solving problems. We have been completely legitimatized. They've tried ignoring us, laughing at us. They've definitely been fighting us, and we're going to show you tonight that they're actually still fighting us, still suppressing XRP, still coming after the tokenization of these markets, because traditional players like Citadel, and you've seen the OCC coming after, you know, the bankers, American Bankers Association, suggesting that the OCC and the Fed and the FDIC need to hit the brakes on allowing companies like Ripple to step in. And we've been talking about how big of a threat, a real threat, not like many of these cryptocurrency projects, which are still trying to find a use case. Maybe trying to solve a problem that doesn't even really exist, but maybe they have a narrative to sell you. What we've seen time and time again with Ripple and XRP is real adoption from institutions, despite the headwinds and suppression that have been up against us. Those are all gone. And from a macro standpoint, as it relates to our markets, there's really not much in the way of just continuation to the upside for the broader markets, and especially for the digital asset space. I'm going to be talking about, at the end of this episode, the potential of us not even really having that extended bear market, the end of the 4-year cycles. We're going to be talking about that at the end of tonight's live show. But without further ado, let's get into it. Everything's at ZachRector.com. How's everybody doing tonight? What are we sipping on? I see we got some chat getting going. I appreciate everybody for stopping by. Hey, by the way, my shirt here tonight, right? Laugh now, but one day XRP will power the world. You've seen it. I tell you what, laugh now. I'm going to have to change this one up. Laugh now, but one day XRP is going to be back at an all-time high. Now, we can say this as a matter of fact right now. This is why I titled tonight's episode XRP Price Discovery. That's what that means. When an asset hits an all-time high, it is into price discovery. So XRP is in price discovery. The broader cryptocurrency space is in price discovery. Now, are we powering the world just yet? Well, part of it. You're starting to see volume on Swift is falling down, activity and volume on the XRP ledger going up. Headwinds have shifted to tailwinds, right? Laugh now, but one day XRP will power the world. Laugh now, but one day XRP will be at all-time high, $3.50. Laugh now, but in the future here, we'll be saying XRP is at $10. Laugh now, but one day XRP went to $50. Laugh now, but one day XRP went to, I'll let you guys fill in the blank on how high this asset goes. But one thing is for sure, since the election, XRP is dominating the rest of the cryptocurrency space and will continue to control this bull run going forward. It's Bitcoin, it's XRP, everybody else is trying to find their place. And we found a few gems here and there, and we've been talking about those plays. And as a matter of fact, I just secured profits on 2 different cryptos over the past 24 hours, over 100% profit. We'll take it, right? And so let's get right on into the update. We got a lot to cover. Everything's at my website, ZachRector.com, and let's get it going. President Trump, this is just within the last hour or so. President Trump announces a trade deal with Japan, which includes a $550 billion investment in the United States and a 15% reciprocal tariff on Japanese goods imported to the country. Okay? So another trade deal, another domino falls, and this is why I actually just went into an XRP long today. I think we got more trade deals getting announced. I think that, we had a little bump in the road here today in anticipation of Jerome Powell speaking. But other than that, we got trade deals getting done, peace deals getting done. Philippines comes to the table. U.S. will pay 0 tariffs, and the Philippines will pay 19% tariffs. Now, both are significant partners, opening up our markets, big deals getting done. Now, this is why I just entered into an XRP long. I'll talk more about that later at the end of this episode. But it looks like the coast is clear. XRP is holding at this all-time high above 340. We've closed out another day green, and it's just looking really strong. And then when I saw that this deal with Japan got done, I said, okay, coast is clear, because the big uncertainty, as you heard, if you did listen to Jerome Powell speak today, I didn't listen. I just got the summary on what Jerome Powell said, which wasn't really much. But the big uncertainty is caused by the tariffs, and that is the excuse for why he's not lowering rates, which is kind of what I expected. All these rumors and clickbaiters talking about him resigning is not the case, and I wasn't expecting him to resign today. Jerome Powell is finishing out his role on the world stage. Right, the old saying, what was that, Mark Twain? I forget who it was. All the world's a stage, and every man, plays his act, or whatever it is. You guys know what I'm talking about. Jerome Powell's not finished with his current role. Now, officially, his role goes out May 2026. Will he make it the distance? Will our Federal Reserve make it the difference? You just heard Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent say that we should do a full review. Well, that's a great start. Respectfully, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent, it's a great start. Why don't we go all the way with the full audit? Why don't we go all the way and have a conversation about abolishing a group of private central bankers that control our monetary policy? Let's go there. And the stablecoin legislation that just got passed paves the way for the Treasury to continue to control, and furthermore, take more control of the monetary supply and actual issuance of currency as well. Speaking of the Fed, Trump calls on Fed Chair Jerome Powell to slash interest rates to 1%, saying that we should be at 1%. Instead, we are paying 4%, and that's over $1 trillion in interest that we have to pay. It's a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis. I've actually talked about how XRP is one of the few assets that I think can solve all three problems. Gold cannot solve the liquidity crisis. In tokenized form, it starts to get a little bit more liquid and does open up a little bit more elasticity. Still doesn't address it, right? And you got to talk about which blockchain are you going to tokenize gold on. XRP Ledger is probably one of the best, because we know that the XRP Ledger has been focused on liquidity going back for more than 12 years now. And so to solve the debt, currency, and liquidity crisis, you can revalue gold. And we've started to see the revaluation of gold actually underway. And what that does is it helps us pay down and write off our debts potentially. You heard from President Trump himself. We could write a little crypto check to write off our debt. We also could pass stablecoin legislation to unlock 2 to 3 trillion of demand for U.S. treasuries, which is a very big hole that we needed filled. So right at the perfect time here, the Genius Act comes. By the end of this year, we have trillions of short-term treasuries that are due to be rolled over. And now we have stablecoins getting issued that will be backed by those treasuries, filling that gap. Absolutely major and a matter of national security. Speaking of national security, U.S. Nuclear Weapons Agency breached in Microsoft SharePoint hack. Our systems are vulnerable. Can blockchain be used as a solution? Dagnum PI, big community member in the Constellation Network community. The ticker is DAG. I went in on it. I doubled up on it. And then I tripled up on my DAG position, because this is another real world utility, niche market with very few competitors that are this far along, literally working with the United States government under Department of Defense contracts like Constellation is. So we have a breach of U.S. Nuclear Weapons Agency. Think that blockchain just became mission critical. Speaking of DAG, from a price action standpoint, it's up over 50% on this swing. And that's not even from the lows to the highs. That's just from the average of where we were trading at over the past month. Right? You got a full swing here, well over 50%. And I think that this coin right here has tremendous upside. Like I said, I doubled up and then I tripled up because, well, I think we have some big upside on the way. I did drop a full deep dive on DAG, but this is one of those other altcoins that's overlooked. Not many people understand it or even know how important this is going to be and how blockchain technology could actually be used in this use case. There's a lot of use cases where do you really need it to be on blockchain, right? And this is one of those where, you know, even if it's on a more centralized network, which is what the Department of Defense has, is a private metagraph in the Constellation network ecosystem. And what that allows is to have their privacy and security where they need it, but they're also tapped in if they want to the public network as well. Very interesting. We have a new metagraphs that have also joined that network. I would encourage you guys to go watch my 2025 coin review playlist on all of the cryptos that I've shared, because they're still all up from the lows that they were just at. Sologenic, HBAR, DAG, and others, XLM. They're all up off the lows, but still have tremendous upside. And if you need to get caught up to speed on the fundamentals along with my upside targets, I would highly recommend you guys do that. And DAG is one of those cryptocurrencies. Representative French Hill gives a statement on the release of the Senate's digital asset market structure discussion draft. So they are going to be working on the Clarity Act after the House passed the bill. Because the Senate originally passed the Genius Act, the stablecoin legislation. So when that was passed by the House last week, that gets sent off to President Trump. He has signed that into law. But the Clarity Act and the anti-CBDC, those both got sent back to the Senate. They haven't been approved there yet. And so now the discussion begins. Representative French Hill says that he's looking forward to our continued collaboration in moving digital asset market structure legislation to President Trump's desk in short order. How about a cheers to that one, huh? That Genius Act, that's massive. Now we get the clarity, and we also want the anti-CBDC protections as well. Not just anti-CBDC. Let's just get rid of the institution altogether, huh? What do you say? By the way, I wish that I had these available for sale. Everybody's been talking about the mugs. One of my Discord community members, she actually made 2 of these for me. They have my logo on them as well too. Absolutely love these. I currently don't have them for sale, but I told her that she needs to pump them out. But we'll see. We'll see. Maybe we can get some coffee mugs in the shop here eventually. I did want to let everybody know that all of the hats that you see behind me are going to be added to the website. The team's working on it right now, and I anticipate in the next 24 hours that we'll have the Trump XRP hats available, along with additional XRP family hats. We have the leather patch, along with the flex style patch is what it's called. And so all of those hats that you see behind me, besides those top 2, the holographics, I'm waiting to drop those yet, but we have filled in our inventory on the Trump XRP and the XRP family hats, and I'm expecting those to be live on the website within the next 24 hours. And stay tuned for Thursday's live show. We'll be back again at 10 p.m. Eastern. I'm going to be doing a giveaway. We're going to be giving away dog tags and XRP family hats. So we're doing hats and dog tag giveaways. That'll be next Thursday. Stay tuned for that. But in the next 24 hours, we got hats. Hopefully, maybe we'll get the hookup on the mugs, but shout out to Roberta. She's amazing. One of our Canadian friends in the Discord. Somebody on TikTok is hammering the chat. Can you prove that XRP will go to $5? Lock in, please. Lock in, please. And they are so scared of what is coming, right? And they've had so much time to get their ducks in a row. They could have been working with Ripple and other institutions, but you got Citadel Securities along with the traditional banks, which have been trying to pump the brakes on tokenization and the crypto asset space really running free. And now the big concern from Citadel Securities, they're urging the SEC to proceed cautiously on tokenized securities, warning that streamlined rules could create investor confusion and an uneven playing field. Now, if this isn't one of the most hypocritical statements coming from Citadel, of all people, to talk about a level playing field from Citadel Securities, the ones that had Robinhood shut down the trading during the GameStop saga. And for those of you guys who don't know what I'm talking about, unbelievable. Citadel market makers telling us that we need a level playing field. It's hilarious because tokenization is what levels the playing field. The firm is concerned that tokenization may siphon liquidity from traditional equity markets. And they're really getting scared because you see this right here. Representative Mike Flood in support of HR 3339. The Equal Opportunity for All Investors Act of 2025 would expand the accredited investor definition to include individuals that are certified through an exam written by the SEC. Wealth alone is not a strong judge from those wanting to be an investor or not. This will expand opportunity into our capital markets. Citadel Securities, how do they respond to that? No, they want to raise accredited investor status. Gary Gensler, he wanted to take it from 1 million of net worth to 10 million. 10x. You little peasants, you can't invest in private equity. No, gosh, no. And even for those of you guys that got a few M's in the bank account, as the kids would say, you got a few $1,000,000? No, you still shouldn't have access to private. This is Gary Gensler. This is what we would have been up against. Thank God we got these people out of the way. Now who's the only people left standing? Well, the folks that Gary Gensler was in bed with, Citadel Securities. And here's another point that I wanted to make too. We got this whole situation with Link2. And these private equity profiteers come in, they want to steal all the shares off of Link2, take the company through bankruptcy, even though there is no debt. Despite, I've seen and listened to Paul Atkins on the last maybe even the last handful of interviews that I've seen Paul Atkins do publicly. He's openly talking about increasing access to private equity for 401k retirement accounts and others, and potentially even, making additions or rule changes to the accredited investor rule. You saw Byron Donalds wants to just drop it completely, I think. That's what I'm talking. I mean, are we Americans or what? Are we living free or not? We need the government to tell us that we can't do that, but we can go to the casino and blow 10 racks. I can go pay $10,000 for Fortnite skins. I can go pay $10,000 on a meme coin. For crying out loud, I can go buy the president's meme coin. $10,000 into the president's meme coin. Or if I don't want to do that one, I can do Melania. And if that doesn't appeal to me, I can do Fartcoin. But God forbid you invest in private equity and create generational wealth for your family. And that's why this Link2 situation pisses me off like none other. It's another attack against the XRP community and Ripple. The reason why they're coming after these shares is because they know how valuable they're going to be. They've already increased, and we have created billions of dollars worth of equity in our community by investing in Ripple, Circle, Kraken, and Uphold and others, even Link2 itself, into a platform that grew billions of dollars of equity in private equity profiteers doing what these are the guys that are giving private equity such a bad name. You've heard all the stories about private equity buying up all these other corporations, shutting them down, taking them to a skeleton, right? Stripping out the good assets and leaving the rest to burn. You thought that was bad. This is a case with Link2 where there's no debt. This is not a Rite Aid in bankruptcy. This is not a Bed Bath & Beyond. No debt. None. Zilch. Billions in unrealized gain in equity. And that's what they're coming after. This is a dream for private equity profiteers. And this once again shows us how far they are willing to go to get your XRP and to get your Ripple equity in this case. Ripple, if they do IPO, will have the largest IPO in the history of the world. That's an affirmative statement from me. You can take it to the bank. And so for some of you, hopefully, literally, for those of you guys that did invest in the Ripple private equity. But we'll be watching this. They're pumping the brakes. This is what the banks have been up to. American Bankers Association, which is hilarious because Ripple's actually contributed to the ABA. I think that they've actually gone to some of their conferences. I think that they've contributed to the ABA. And now the ABA, listening to their other contributors, the traditional boys and girls, we got banking groups and the American Bankers Association urging Congress and the OCC to pause trust charter approvals for crypto firms like Fidelity and Ripple, warning that these could bypass key fiduciary standards and require greater public scrutiny. Oh my goodness, the bankers and the market makers like Citadel are so worried about us peasants, aren't they? They are just terrified that we could blow our money. That we could have a company like Ripple. And this is the hilarious part, is that a trust does not even loan out against deposits. A trust company does not participate in fractional reserve banking. A trust does not do that. And that's what Ripple has with their trust charter. They're not even going to lend out against their deposits. They're literally just going to be the custodian keeping things safe. And that's a concern. It's absolutely hilarious because they're only pumping the brakes so that these guys can get their piece of the action. These guys that would sell their grandmother for some equity and for some profit on a deal. And they're pumping the brakes because they know Ripple is a real threat. Now, what's the OCC going to do? Well, they can laugh all they want. They ignored us. Now they're laughing. They were fighting us. They continue to fight us. But we know how this plays out. I got to play this epic clip of Tim Draper and good guy Gary Gensler, as we like to call him. Good guy Gary Gensler, listen in here.
The first thing that happens is they try to go, oh, it's nothing. And they did that. I mean, that's with every new industry, every new technology comes along. The powers that be, the incumbents, the status quo, all say, it's nothing. Don't ignore the man behind the curtain. This is nothing. And then all of a sudden it's too big to get in there. They're going, oh my God, I got to face this thing. And then they all line up and they wrap their arms together and they say, we're not letting this happen. And then it keeps going. And then they say, okay, well, let's sue them. Or let's go get the government.
There's another thing they do. They adopt the technology. I think.
No, that's at the end.
They will adopt this technology.
No, this is the last thing they do. No,
yeah, it's like
it's after. It's after. Right. It's after the press planting. They plant the press stories. They put out lawsuits. They create as much of a fuss as possible. They try to get their government friends involved. And then they go, oh, God, this thing's happening. And then they go, okay, what are we going to do? How do we get it? So then they either make or buy, as all.
And that's exactly where we're at right now. And I just have to note Tim Draper, the real alpha in the room. He hits the brakes on Gary Gensler real quick. Gary Gensler tries to come in there. Oh, and then they adopt the technology. No. Tim Draper puts the brakes on him. Totally dominates the conversation. That's the difference between a real alpha and good guy Gary Gensler. He was kind of hiding in his chair there. Oh, but then we adopt it. Slithering around. And here's your news right here. Western Union CEO says the bank is looking into offering stablecoin products in its digital wallets to the customers around the world. Stablecoins are an opportunity, not a threat. Okay. This has come full circle. This is no longer ignored, no longer laughing. They can no longer fight us. They're losing all the fights in the courts, in the courts right now. They're losing all of them. We're winning. It's full speed ahead, and now they have to finally admit. Larry Fink, the CEO of BlackRock, cryptocurrency is going to transcend traditional currency. Western Union CEO, stablecoins are an opportunity, not a threat. Gary Gensler, even back in 2018, he was talking about the traditional players adopting this technology. And then when he gets into his role at the SEC, he hits the brakes on everybody who's a legitimate threat to the incumbents. He comes from Goldman Sachs, and he's in bed with the rest of the gang, literally. And so he pumps the brakes, and he allows all these guys to come get their ducks in a row. And what are they trying to do? They're trying to come up with a solution for cross-border payments. They're trying to come up with their own custody solution. They're trying to stop Ripple from becoming a trust chartered institution in this country. They're trying to stop, and now they're rolling out their own stablecoins. What else are they doing? They're not letting us have spot ETFs. The spot ETFs are still delayed. The SEC appeal has not been dropped yet. Nate Garassi says, let the record reflect that you can currently buy leveraged and futures-based XRP and Solana ETFs, but you can't buy spot XRP and Solana ETFs. This is the same group that's so worried about us losing money on our investments, but they don't just let us buy spot. They put us in levered up products, which if you were in some of those levered up products while XRP's been appreciating, well, 2 thumbs up for you and your portfolio. But you get the point of how backwards this is. And, they say that they want a healthy, futures market and derivatives market, so that there's plenty of exposure, yada, 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 right? And we know where we're at. They're just trying to buy the last little bit of time that they can to get their ducks in a row, their products ready to roll out, when all they had to do was just give in and say, okay, let's head to the offices of Ripple. Let's get a deal done. We'll tokenize it on the XRP ledger. And in fact, that's really the opportunity to be at the forefront. And I think that a lot of that has been happening with Ripple behind those NDAs. And that's the veil that's about to be lifted. I find it so interesting that President Trump has everybody in for the Genius Act, except Brad didn't make it. Now, how is it possible that Brad Garlinghouse doesn't attend that? Unless, there's something going on where it's, once again, keeping Ripple hidden, almost as if Ripple's already been working with our government, and we can't just let the genie out of the bottle just quite yet. We can't let the genie out of the bottle just quite yet, right? And I've long suspected that Ripple already does have a partnership with our Treasury. As a matter of national security, it is a perfect position with their stablecoin and how they could also give some XRP to the United States government for the strategic reserve. It's a 1-2 punch where they can give their services up to the Treasury and other departments too. But then also we have plenty of XRP available at no cost basis that they could give to the government if needed, or the government could buy too, right? I found it very interesting that Brad Garlinghouse wasn't at that event. Now, Stu was, and there was other team members from Ripple present, but it's almost like there's a special deal coming around the corner. I feel like there's a moment coming where President Trump has Brad Garlinghouse in the Oval Office for a special occasion, special ceremony, a special occasion, a special announcement, right? We'll see what happens. You guys let me know in the comments down below what you think. The good news, they can't hold it back much longer. As Nate says, not only that, the fact that you can't buy spot XRP Solana ETFs, but now the SEC is pushing back against index-based crypto ETFs where XRP and Solana are 10% of the holdings. Thought we were done with this. Well, if you look, Cowboy Crypto, what he's talking about here is the Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund. And we've talked about this one. As soon as they filed for it, we talked about how this one was massive because we believe these index products are going to be so great for new people who just want to call their broker, call, their 401k manager and just say, hey man, can you get me one of these indexes that gives me exposure to the top 10 cryptos? That's what this Bitwise 10 Crypto Index Fund product was or is and is going to be. And it is physically backed. So it's not a futures product that is cash settled. This one is actually backed by XRP and all of the other cryptocurrencies that are included in this fund. So in this fund, 73% of it is Bitcoin, 14% is Ethereum, 6.7% is XRP, Solana's 3.3%, 1% in Cardano, 0.4% in Sui, Chainlink, 3% or 0.3% in Avalanche, Litecoin, and then for some reason they throw Polkadot in there too, 0.2%. Okay? But what happened is the order has been stayed and is effective date delayed. So they approved it today. They said it's good to go, but it has been stayed and the date go live has been delayed. So they're signing off saying, yep, 2 thumbs up, great product, ready to go, but hold off on launching that. Now, I wanted to talk about this because this suppression has been a lot and it's kept us down. But look at what's happening now. It's that old analogy of you keep that beach ball underwater for so long, eventually it slips by you and it explodes up out of the water. That's what's happening for XRP right now already. And that's also what's going to happen for the ETFs, in my opinion. I was thinking about this earlier, and because our spot ETFs are going to come in after people have had plenty of time to get a Bitcoin ETF since January 11th of 2024. The Ethereum ETFs went live sometime last year too. Was that June or July, I think? And so those have been live for a while too. And this is why it's going to be so bullish when the XRP ETFs finally do go live. Although they'll go live probably at the same time as Solana, Dogecoin, a bunch of other crap ETFs will probably come out too. But what you're seeing in the spot market right now is people want XRP. That's why XRP's had the top volume traded on many platforms, consistent inflows, and now we're up at a new all-time high in price discovery. Same thing's going to happen for the ETFs. And it's like, because they kept it back and kept it suppressed, once people can finally get exposure to it, the aggressive inflows that are going to come, you guys have heard me talk about that multiplier. And because they've pulled it back like the slingshot, pulling it back, pulling it back, pulling it back. Not just spot ETFs, but also basket index funds like this one. You pull it, you pull it, you pull it. Eventually, you let this thing go, and it's going to fly. Unlike the Ethereum ETFs, which have seen some demand, but nothing like the Bitcoin ones. And I think that you're going to have a combination of, it's going to be somewhere in between what we've seen for the Bitcoin ETFs and what we've seen for the Ethereum ETFs, as far as the amount of inflows into that product. In fact, if anything was going to outpace the Bitcoin ETFs, it very well could be the XRP ETFs. And so that's what's frustrating is in the meantime, you're thinking, oh my gosh, we're still suppressed. They're still holding back ETFs, etc. They still haven't dropped the SEC appeal yet, right? When they finally do, and the masses realize, okay, Ripple's not in a lawsuit, XRP's not in a lawsuit anymore. We already know it's over. We already know it's done. We already know that we've won this fight. The masses don't. And the masses also don't know how to get exposure. They're too lazy to go set up a crypto wallet, go get set up on an exchange. But the masses have almost 9 trillion in 401ks that are about to be unlocked to invest in the digital asset space. Now, half of those Americans with 401ks still don't know what their 401k is in, but if their financial advisor wants to keep their job, they're going to get them exposure to crypto. With the largest fund managers like Rick Edelman suggesting not just 1, 2, 3, 5% exposure to the asset class, 40% plus. So this goes from no exposure, no knowledge of what's going on with Ripple XRP, to the darling on Wall Street. Out of all the crypto firms, Ripple's about to be the darling, propped up by Trump. Brad Garlinghouse is going to be walked into the Oval Office. They may celebrate in the Oval Office Ripple having the largest IPO in the history of the world. I think that President Trump would like to celebrate that. I would suggest that. Instead of President Trump dealing with World Liberty Financial and some of the other crap that they've been up to, launching meme coins and stuff, we don't need to be messing around like that. That's cute. But if we really want to become the crypto capital of the world, let's have the largest IPO in the history of the world with a crypto company. Boom. That's how you do it. That's how it's done. Now, continuing on, let's celebrate other digital assets as well too, because it's not just XRP. We have continued all-time high closes for the entire market cap of crypto. So it's not just XRP in price discovery. This is the entire cryptocurrency space in price discovery right now. We are seeing assets like BNB reaching new all-time highs. Even Ethereum back up. And you got to respect the pump. I don't hold BNB. I don't hold Ethereum. And the pump on Ethereum has been weak, but it's moving back up. There's a tremendous sell wall under 4,000 for ETH. I shared it in my Discord group earlier today. I didn't pull it up for tonight's show, but I shared that with my Discord group, and I say, hey guys, this is another good example of front running the rest of the masses. The rest of the masses have a huge sell wall, hundreds of millions of dollars between, I think it's like 38 and 4,000 ETH, whereas ETH is at 3,760. So yeah, it's like between here and 4,000, there's hundreds of millions of a sell wall that is on the order books right now. And I said, what it comes up to for ETH, if Ethereum ETFs can't bring in inflows into that asset, it's cooked. Your dreams of a 10,000 ETH this cycle, I think, are already gone. Just if I'm being honest with you guys, they're gone. But if the Ethereum ETFs don't bring in significant inflows, and the time is running out for Ethereum to have this competitive advantage. I mean, going all the way back to 2018 with the ETH free pass, it's had this advantage. And then up until 2025, with the Ethereum ETFs being live and XRP, Solana, and the rest of the ETFs still being held back, Ethereum still has that competitive advantage. Why is it not at an all-time high? And I've discussed that. It's because of the lack of adoption. Everybody else is going, and they're using layer 2s on ETH, sure, but they're also moving to other layer 1s like SWI and others. Okay? Now, let's see. We left it off right here. And so, entire cryptocurrency space, BNB, you're seeing XRP also at an all-time high. There's very few others, though, that are back at previous all-time highs. And in fact, there's many cryptocurrencies that are still far from it. And I just want to let our community know, for those of you guys that have been holding some of these bags for a while, consider how many other bag holders are sitting there with you. This is something that I consider for XRP. This is something that I consider for XLM, XDC, all of these other cryptos that I hold. And I'm looking at how the rest of this year finishes off, the rest of this cycle. When is the cycle top going to come in? What is it going to be? That's the $1 trillion question that everybody wishes they knew. Nobody can know the exact answer, but what I'm looking at right now, and I've been breaking this down for folks in the one-on-one calls that I've been having, because people have been asking me about some of these older coins. Hey, I got a bag of this. What do you think about this project? And I say, there's two things really that I'm looking at right now. And that's one, how much retail money is in the ecosystem and flowing in the ecosystem. Two, how much institutional inflows are going to come in. For many of these projects, their communities are actually fading out. There's less users, less developers, less capital in there. That's bad, right? Now, for some of them, they do have hot retail ecosystems. Look at Solana. Look at Ethereum. They got something cooking. But how much are they going to see in institutional adoption and inflows? I think it's limited. And I've been proven right as far as the Ethereum ETFs. They've seen some inflows, but nothing like the Bitcoin. And I think that they're going to be outpaced by the XRP ETFs as a matter of fact. And so when you look at some of these other bags that you might hold, ask yourself, what's cooking in the ecosystem right now? Like actually. Not, oh, they have a partnership that's on their website from 2018. There's plenty of projects like that list partnerships from 5-6 years ago that are long gone, but they're still on their website. You go to these crypto websites, I encourage you, you'll see all their partnerships. And it'll list the logos of all the companies that they're partnered with. And then if you can click on the article or click on the logo, it should direct you to a press release that acknowledges the partnership. Go back to some of these coins that you hold, go to the websites and go look at those quote unquote partnerships. You'll see and notice that many of them are from years ago, and two, that partnership no longer exists. They're still allowed to have it up on their website because they did run a proof of concept with XYZ Bank back in 2018. They consulted XYZ institution back in 2020. That institution never adopted the crypto. That institution does not hold the crypto. That institution is no longer partnered with them in any capacity other than they allow them to have the logo on the website. And then compare yourself with the rest of the bag holders in said project. And plan your exit. And ask yourself, what are you really going to be holding through the cycle top into what is going to be a correction? And what assets you can hold and basically front run the institutional money that is coming right around the corner. It's starting to come in now, but the floodgates are really about to open up. Now, from a retail standpoint, if you look at the Google search trend for buy XRP, 2017, 2021 versus now, you'll see that we're really starting to pick up here, but we're still nowhere near the top in 2021. So we still have a lot of gas left in the tank. I see that we have 5,989 with us between YouTube and X, over 300 in the chat on TikTok. If you guys haven't already, make sure that you like this. Help us out by sharing it out far and wide. And all of our community resources are at zachrector.com. Now, if you want more data to show that XRP attention's growing, this is the CME. Last week, XRP futures hit their biggest trading day yet, just in time for their 2-month mark. The growth speaks for itself. Discover XRP futures here. So we have the biggest trading day yet for XRP futures hitting. This party is just getting started. And this is the CME Group, the largest derivatives platform in the world that is pumping up XRP futures. Now, I'm not here to pump up XRP futures, but I am going to admit that I did buy an XRP long today just a couple hours ago. Okay. Full disclosure, I am long XRP once again. And I updated my Discord group on that trade, and I'll be letting them know where my take profit and stop loss is at on that trade as well too. I am long XRP again, believe it or not. Now, as I was saying, I think that it's being underestimated how many people will look to XRP as a store of value after this cycle top. Is the 4-year cycle disrupted? Yes. The confirmation that the 4-year cycle had been disrupted was when Bitcoin went to an all-time high in March of 2024 before the halving. That was the confirmation. We know this time's different. Why did that happen? The ETFs. What's coming for XRP? ETFs. What's fascinating is that XRP's already at a new all-time high before the ETFs. Right, this would have been the equivalent of Bitcoin going to 74,000 before the ETFs. It didn't. Bitcoin ran up from about 25,000 to 50,000 the day the ETFs went live. I warned everybody that that was going to be a buy the rumor, sell the news event. And it was from 50,000 down to 38,500. Drawdown, pullback, a strong pullback after the ETFs went live. But then it recovered. Those inflows came in and Bitcoin went up to 74,000. But it didn't happen until after the ETFs went live. For XRP, just off of retail demand and some institutions dipping their toes in, we're already at an all-time high without ETFs. And so in my opinion, you have a convergence here on XRP of people who are going to be out of Solana, out of meme coins, out of NFTs, out of pixelated pictures of silly stuff into XRP. They're going to be holding XRP. I'm going to be holding XRP. I'm selling off so little of my XRP this bull run. I want to be very clear about that. When you hear me talking about trading XRP, that is XRP that I've made from meme coins, part of my trading bag. My long-term holdings, I might not even touch this bull run, right? I'm looking at maybe selling off a small percentage, very small percentage. And that's it. I'm holding my XRP. Now, when it comes to my other bags, I'm going to probably hold a little bag of XLM. Probably going to hold a little bit of H-bar. I'm also looking at DAG. But as I've been telling everybody who's, whether it's in the Discord group, these one-on-one conversations, if I'm doing rapid fire Q&A, which is about to start up here shortly, and people ask me, what am I looking for? Okay, is retail money present and is retail money active? Yes or no? 2, is institutional money going to come in? If the answer is no and no, well, it's easy. I don't invest. If it's like a meme coin on the XRP ledger, obviously I'm not going to ask if institutional adoption's coming. We want to see motion within retail, within the ecosystem. But that's what this comes down to for me. And when I look at a lot of these projects, they've been around for years. Their users, developers, activity, and capital is dying off. And that's not good. But the institutions aren't coming to save the day on some of these coins either. But this is where we get into XRP potentially not even having a long drawn out bear market. In my opinion, we still see a drawdown from the cycle top. I do believe that we'll have a cycle top and we will come back down. But me, you, and many others are going to be holding most of our XRP, not planning on selling. Some of you guys aren't going to sell any of your XRP ever. God bless you. And then the institutions are finally going to be able to get exposure to XRP as well. So is XRP going to see a 70, 80, 90% drawdown? I don't think so. Is it going to see a 50% drawdown? I do believe so. I believe that at some point in this run, we see a 50% drawdown. Whether that's $10 back down to 5, and then we keep on going. Whether that's $20 back down to 10, we keep it rolling. Or, I'm still holding to a $20 to $30 XRP and then a pullback to 10 or $15. If somebody was pressing me and I had to give them the absolute answer, where do we top out? Where do we come back down to? That's the range that I'm looking at right now. But who knows? I would love to be wrong. We are going to have the biggest party ever if I underestimate how much we see in inflows. Our net worths and portfolios aren't going to be cut in half if I underestimate how much institutional adoption comes in and stops us from having that 50% drawdown. I'd love to see that too. We go up to $30 and pull back to 20, and that's the new floor price. And so just because I'm saying that there's going to be a cycle top and a pullback on XRP, it's so that everybody's prepared to stomach that who holds XRP, but then also so that you can look over the rest of your portfolio and really have an honest conversation with yourself. Did you buy into a narrative? Did an influencer dump his bags on you and convince you to buy the next hot thing? Right? Why do you own XYZ coin? Who is going to actually use or adopt XYZ coin from an institutional standpoint? Retail money only gets us so far. And as long as we have a Federal Reserve who controls our monetary policy, I believe that we'll continue to have a broader liquidity cycle. As long as we have a Fed and the rest of the world continues to have these central banks, we have a global liquidity index that doesn't care at all about the crypto cycles. It just so happens to be correlated with the 4-year cycles as well too, which is pretty fascinating. The global liquidity index tops out or is set to top out September of this year. So I'm in agreement, in agreement with many people that we don't see the traditional bear market. But I just want everybody to have an honest conversation with yourselves about your portfolio, what we're holding, what we need to sell off, and what we're going to hold through any potential drawdowns. Because to me, I find safety in XRP, and I'm going to be finding safety in RLUSD. And if I had to use another stablecoin, it would be USDC. Tether still worries me. Tether's going to have a grace period to come into compliance with the United States. So you saw the Ethereum free pass. Now it's the Tether free pass. Am I going to fight it? No. We're just going to build something better. And that's what Ripple's doing with RLUSD. We're going to build out more liquidity. That's what we're doing on the XRP ledger. We're going to build out the best products for our DeFi ecosystem. And that's what you're seeing companies that have been popping up, these builders that have been popping up within our ecosystem. Now, if you're new to XRP, you don't know what I'm talking about. And what I'm trying to do is get folks caught up to speed. Because most people just think that XRP is a banker's coin, it's for cross-border payments, and that's it. And that's enough to get people to invest. But I want you to actually understand what you hold, whether that be XRP or these other cryptocurrencies that I don't believe in. And I'll honestly tell you, I can't wait to dump my bag of Dogecoin. I cannot wait. I mean, I could go through my whole entire portfolio. 80% of it, 90% of it, gone. Goodbye. Because, this is the end of the speculation. This is the end of the story. And for every single project, you need to ask yourself, is the rubber actually meeting the road? Are we actually gaining traction? Because there's no more excuses. With regulations in place, with ETFs in place, there's no excuses. Either you're getting institutional adoption or you're not. And if you're not getting institutional adoption, you better have the hottest retail ecosystem in crypto. And that's why Solana sees billions of dollars of volume every single day. It's because it's the hottest ecosystem for trading crap. Literally. It's not tokenized institutional products. It's tokenized crap. It's tokenized stupidity. That's exactly what memes are. Memes are tokenized stupidity. And if you haven't been paying attention, there's a lot of stupidity out there. It's a trap for stupidity and liquidity. Ask yourself where you stand in that equation. Meme coins are a trap for stupidity and liquidity. Ask yourself where you stand. Okay? Now, you might not have to sell. This is the beautiful part. And I've been saying how we're going to have all sorts of options available. Frank Chaparro says this would be a massive unlock for crypto market structure. JP Morgan Chase is considering plans to allow clients to borrow against their cryptocurrency holdings as early as next year, according to the Financial Times. Now, for those of you in this camp, we're not going to sell, we're going to borrow. Fantastic. That's the move for the real players. But the next question is, what are you going to do with that loan? What's the next deal? Where are you going to rotate the capital? What asset class? What deal? Are you going to self-direct? You have a business you're going to start. You have a business you're going to buy. You got real estate you're going to buy. I just had a one-on-one with somebody today that bought an oil field. What's the next play? Because just because you can take a loan against that asset doesn't mean that it's just going to spit out a return for you, right? This is not a bond. This is not somebody else. This is not a dividend. This is a loan. So you're going to take out that money and you need to be able to pay back the banker their money. In this case, it could be JP Morgan Chase as early as next year, right? You're going to need to pay them back their money, and then you're going to want your profit on top of that to make it worth your while. So what should you be doing now? First things first, figure out what is in your bag of crap. And I say that to trigger you guys so that you actually take a look. I try to insult your bag, no offense to you, but I try to insult your bag, and I talk about my bag of crap too, just to trigger you to actually take a look at it, okay? I'm not saying that you hold a bag of crap, but I'm saying that you have a couple crap coins in there, okay? Take a good hard look at it, figure out what you're going to hold, figure out what you're going to sell, set everything up. Your exchanges, your brokerages, you're going to use DEXs, all of the above. Get all that set up so that you can automate your exit strategy and your plan for the rest of this year and this cycle. And then what am I doing? Now we get our teams together, our professionals, because what are we going to go invest in? Are we going to go buy a business? Are we going to go into real estate? Are we going to do private equity? Are we going to do all the above? And now's the time to get dialed in. Now's the time to be conducting due diligence. Now's the time to get that board assembled, get that team assembled. Because it's going to come and be here before we know it. The top of this cycle, and then also next year when XRP DeFi is going to be thriving. You're going to have your options available. You'll be able to go to Flare. We've seen Digital Wealth Partners is providing yield on XRP. JP Morgan's going to let you borrow against your XRP. Everybody's showing up to take your XRP. What are they going to give you in return? I want security and stability. If it's a yield that you're going to generate for me, a conservative yield that's going to be stable. If you're going to let me borrow against it so that I can get it, I just want fair terms. Fair terms that give me time that I can, all it comes down to is covering debt service. Now, when it starts, do you think that you're going to have the lowest interest rates when it comes to crypto loans? Do you think that you're going to have the best terms when it comes to LTV? You're not. Some of the products that we're seeing out right now, you can borrow, 45, 50% loan to value. Some are a little bit steeper. Some are a little bit less. That's about where we're at. And the interest rates on these are 10 to 15%, sometimes more. Which means that you need to be making back 50% on your money just to be able to pay back the loan and the interest. So you better have a deal that's going to spit you out 20%. Right? And that spread better be worth your while. That's what I'm preparing right now. And what I'm putting together for our Discord community here soon is I'm actually going to be hosting a private call with Mark Kohler. Some of you guys may know Mark. Mark Kohler is part owner. I think he's the founder and owner of KKOS Lawyers. They have a network of accountants across the country, legal professional services, and estate planning. And I'm going to be hosting a private call here, Crypto Estate Planning with Mark Kohler, for our Discord community. And so I just sent that out. That will not be public. That will not be available on a public YouTube, but that will be part for our private Discord community exclusively. And Mark is one of the resources that we've added. He deals outside of crypto too, not just crypto. But what they do is they have estate planning, accountants, and legal professionals that are ready. And I've heard nothing but great things back from people in our community that have already used their services. So I'm very excited because he's a wealth of knowledge when it comes to this topic. But then I've already started to gather questions from our community as far as estate planning for our crypto. And so many people, are hearing, oh, I need to do this, I need to do that. This will be great because it just allows our community to ask questions and get educated. No pressure, no high pressure sales. No, you got to sign up today. No, oh, we're going to listen to the seminar and then a hard shill ya. Obviously Mark is in business and I hope to send him some business too, because I've heard nothing but great things about his platform. And I love his YouTube channel. I watch his YouTube content, very good stuff on crypto taxes, estate planning, setting up entities for your business, etc. And so these are the types of professionals that I'm trying to surround myself with right now. And we don't have time to wait. So, whether you want to come into our Discord group and get tapped in on this call and all of the other value that we provide in that community, or you want to get, you already got your professionals. I just want everybody to get your ducks in a row, have your plan ready, because this is crunch time now. This is the fourth quarter. Okay. And this is the fourth quarter in this 2025 bull run cycle top, if that's what you want to call it. Now, is this the end of the journey? No, that's the whole point. The whole point is that you compound, you capture gains and profit, and you position yourself with capital and liquidity in a business plan to execute all through 2026, 2027, until that global liquidity cycle tops out again later in 28, 29, and then you set up your own Agenda 2030, if you know what I'm talking about. Because they got a plan for you. What's your plan for you and your family? What's your plan for you and yours? Because they have a plan for you. Eating the bugs, no reproduction, no life, no soul, a chip. They got a plan for you. Oh, they killed the TikTok live. They killed me. Let's bring them back. Let's go rapid fire Q&A. But if you guys are looking to get into the Discord, I'm excited. We've had so many people coming in, and now's the time to get in here. The next 6 months is just going to be life-changing for our community, and I want to make sure that everybody's prepared. So sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord, and then go to the announcements channel inside the Discord group, and that's where you'll find the sign-up link for that call with Mark Kohler. We already filled up over 25 spots within just a few hours, and I don't know if we're going to be limited on how many spots we can have. So it's going to be first come, first serve. I know there's a lot of people that are interested in this, so feel free to check that out. That's linked up down below. Let's go rapid fire Q&A, and let me also catch up on some super chats that I saw rolling in. Thank you so much, everybody, for your support. If you haven't already, let's make sure that we've liked this video, shared it out far and wide, and I greatly appreciate you. Bob Seeger asked price target for DAG. Yes, price target for DAG. It's at least 30 cents, but I think that we could see 40 to 60 cents on DAG, which is pretty incredible, right? Because, I mean, you're looking at 800, 900%, even from the current levels right now. I still just see tremendous upside on DAG. The all-time high for DAG is 46 cents. And so I think that I've just kind of been looking at this thing. I'm like, man, if it even just goes back up to its previous all-time high, look at that opportunity. Look at that opportunity. Another one. Did you guys get the pump alert on SHX? I know everybody was waiting for my deep dive, but I did tell you guys it was going to pump in the meantime. A new all-time high for SHX coming in here. 100% pump in just the past couple days. SHX, boy, was that a play. It came and went quick, though, and I was telling my Discord community for the past couple months, I said, guys, look out for this one. It's looking like a double top formation coming in. It's one of the reasons why I've held back my deep dive on Stronghold, is because I know that everybody wants another Zebeki. Everybody wants another Zebeki in their life. And Stronghold wasn't another Zebek. It was an opportunity. I did double up on my Stronghold position on June 10th, last month. I bought more, sorry, not Zebek, Stronghold. I bought more SHX last month, June 10th, on the very same day that I put out a public YouTube video titled SHX Pump Alert. I can't be any more straightforward than that. SHX Pump Alert. But the reason why I've been holding back the deep dive is because I knew if I dropped the deep dive and the top was already in on SHX, everybody would be mad at me. And I also knew that if it did this double top formation, which is what I was expecting and what it's now done, people are going to be upset when I come out and say that I don't, my upside targets are not much higher than the current prices. Okay. So I'm looking at SHX right here. If it did a full extension, I think that it could go up here to 5 cents. Upwards of 8 cents. I do not think that this asset breaks 10 cents this bull run. And what I'm showing you right now is the Stronghold SHX versus Tether chart. But if you look at the Stronghold market cap chart, it actually shows you that we're at an all-time high for market cap. And so this asset is already in price discovery by quite a ways. And I was just anticipating that a lot of folks would be taking profit if we do get up to these levels. So I think that this is the final moments for the SHX rally this bull run, which I know people don't want to hear. If I do a deep dive, people want it to be the next 10x alpha play that we go print millions on. So, it's just one of those things where I didn't expect that. And I still am going to be watching the project, that's for sure. But I do think that we're near the top for this cycle for SHX. But great pump, and a lot of profit for our community that took advantage of that one. Great play. The other one that I took profit on was DIA. We let the group know about this one a while ago, a few months back. And this is, it was back in here, it was in April. Yeah, it was right here. It did go up to 70 cents briefly. I bought in at 50 cents, popped up to 70, but then it drew all the way down here to about 30 cents. I should have actually lowered my average. I should have bought into this. But my upside targets on this one was only a couple bucks. But I'd already captured that 100% pump when it went over $1. And so I took profit on this one. It could extend higher, but I was happy to get that exit on that one. So that was 100% profit on both DIA and SHX secured in the past couple days. So, you know, and those are just a couple of the plays here that we've made recently. What's my take on ZBCN? It's moving back up. It's moving back up, and I don't think that it's done. I think that you're going to see it go back up to my targets of half a penny to a penny. I don't think that it breaks a penny. It's really respecting the fib levels that I've drawn. Look at this perfect bounce off the 2618 right here. Right here, this bounce right off the 2618. And mind you, I already drew this fib. I already had drawn this fib. It's just I took profit at half a penny because, you know, I didn't know how fast it was going to pump. I didn't know how well the liquidity was going to be. So I set my targets a little bit lower than what I thought it could hit. My full extension was right here, and look at how close that was. That was just past the 4.236 that I drew. And then it bounced all the way back down here, almost for a full retrace. Perfect bounce right here off the 1414. And it's just really respecting these fib levels right now. So I do think that it goes higher. I'm not currently in ZBCN right now, though. Okay, let me catch up on these super chats. I got a lot to catch up on. Dennis, Ripple won't go public, trillions in escrow value, 100%. They don't need to go public, right? They don't need to. Absolutely not. Richard Ledford, Zach, thanks for the ZBCN tip months ago. Yes, you bet, Richard. My pleasure. Big winner for our community, and I love to see it. XCN, I still have a bag. I sold 75% of my bag. I think that it could run 10 to 15 cents this bull run. Okay. Thomas Sutton, thank you for the 5 spot. The SEC has to update the Second Circuit by August 15th. Do you think that we'll hear the SEC vote to? Yeah, absolutely. That would make sense to me. If the next date is August 15th, we'll hear the SEC has dropped their appeal by then. So that gives you a few weeks here. Yeah. Thank you, Thomas. Thank you for pointing that out. CK, thank you for the 5 spot. Appreciate you, Zach. You have been a huge part of this XRP journey for me, and I am so grateful for your videos. Thank you, brother. CK, it's my pleasure. Thank you for your support, my friend. Appreciate you guys. All out of coffee. Dennis, thank you, 5 spot. Thank you. Cameron Lawrence, thank you for the 5 spot. Do you think that DEG or Velo will do better this bull run? They're my 2 largest. Yeah, so I haven't done an extensive look at Velo. The problem with Velo and SHX is that they don't have tier 1 exchange listings. They lack access and on-ramps to those projects. And that's why the upside's limited on Velo and SHX. I believe that they'll do well. I haven't taken a look at Velo anytime soon. SHX has done well for our community, and many have invested in Velo as well too. I don't really buy into the narrative of they're the Ripple of Asia. Ripple's the Ripple of Asia. And Asia loves XRP. I haven't seen traction in Velo that's caught my eye. I might be missing out. I know I'm missing out on some gains because it's done pretty well, but I don't own Velo currently. But I'll follow up with an update on Velo here when I take a look at it. DEG, well, I showed you earlier, 800% from here could easily be done. It could do a lot more. could do a lot. I think that DEG is a serious sleeper. And what I just heard recently is they're actually in talks with Kraken and Crypto.com for exchange listings over there. Charles Brewer, thank you for the 20 spot. Another great live stream, Team Zach. Someone needs to say it out loud. Charles, I appreciate you. Thank you, my friend. Shout out to all of our mods. Shout out to all the people that help us. It really is a community effort. Thoughts on Zebek and Algo teaming up? Zebek just continues to get partnerships, which I love to see. In many of these projects, I am very critical that we're not seeing enough adoption. Adoption of Algorand, it's not the biggest deal, but it's something to note. I want to see more institutional adoption in Algo. I hold Algorand. I think that we could see some more over there. I'd like to see some more over there. I hope that there's something taking place over there with Algorand because I hold a bag. I haven't seen much that's really caught my attention from Algo recently. But, you know, shout out to Zebek and their team. They continue getting partnerships. A-Prod, thank you for the 5 spot. It might be time to think of XLM as the world neutral currency and XRP as the world reserve currency. Once again, same thing with XLM Stellar. They have a lot of adoption of stablecoins on their network. There's a considerable amount of RWAs that have been tokenized on their network. They have the smart contracts. I'd like to see more institutions coming in and actually using XLM. A lot of institutions are coming in and using USDC or launching their own products like Franklin Templeton. And obviously all of that uses XLM using the Stellar network. But who's the XLM treasury company? Right? We're seeing Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP treasury companies. Who's the XLM treasury company? I mean, obviously Stellar, but outside of Stellar, who's putting XLM on their balance sheet? I mean, I know that some people are, but you know, I'd like to see some more adoption there too. But I hold both, 100%. Chosen One Collecting, thank you for the 2 spot. When does Senate vote on clarity? I am not sure. That's a very good question. I can check on that. What is the SEC waiting for? How's the case still going on? All the world's a stage, my friend. For whatever reason, they're keeping XRP suppressed, waiting for those ETFs, waiting for the case to drop. Right on time. They're waiting to usher in Brad Garlinghouse into the Oval Office. It's coming. John Dunbar, thank you for the 5 spot. Separate of my XRP, if a person had a decent sized equal bag of XLM and HBAR, what's your thoughts on swapping some to the heavier one? Which one? HBAR has more upside than XLM in my opinion from today's prices. But I can't direct you or give you financial advice. But if I was given $1,000 to invest in the 2 projects right now and I could only pick one, it would be HBAR. So that's the answer to that question. Daniel, 5 spot. Dobbins sold his XRP at 230. Yeah, I think you're talking about, is that a nickname? What's his name? Oh gosh, why can't I think of his name right now? Barstool Sports, Dave Portnoy. Davey Boy, that's what I call him. Davey Boy sold his XRP at 230. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. XRP to $5 by Friday. Is it possible? Possible, yes. Will it happen? I think that we'll meet resistance at 460. I think the fib level above us is at about 460 right now. 450 is a big round off psychological level too. So I think that we'd meet resistance there. I wouldn't say $5 this week, but $4 this week. That's why I went long XRP. Paper Hands Portnoy. Old Davy Boy. Stupid YouTube breaking in with commercials during the live show. Does it make you guys watch commercials while the show's going on live? Thoughts on Atom? Not a hot ecosystem, not a project that I'm invested in. I don't think that you'll see institutional adoption. I don't think that you'll see big inflows from the ETFs. So I would just pray to catch some exit liquidity on that one. My opinion on Flare really could open up XRP DeFi. Really could be a great opportunity for XRP DeFi, along with Dogecoin and adding utility to Bitcoin, etc. Very bullish. That's unfortunate. That's unfortunate. I didn't realize that it actually did it live. I thought that you were able to watch the live show while it was going on, but for people that watched it back, they had to watch the ads. My apologies. Thank you for watching the commercials and helping us keep the lights on over here. Greatly appreciate your support. I could remove their commercials and then I could plug my own commercials. What do you guys say? Yeah, I got YouTube Premium too. I listen to way too much of YouTube, or at least I really actually don't that much anymore. I used to though. The YouTube Premium. What project did you say was a huge sleeper? DAG. Flare I think will struggle to break 10 cents this bull run, but I'm excited about it and I'm excited for the DeFi. When Flare goes live, I might throw a little bit over there, a little bit of XRP over there just to see what it does. I might test the waters a little bit, but it's not going to be a big bag. Scott, thank you for coming in with that big 50 spot. That's major. Thanks for all you do, Zach. Scott, thank you for your support. It means the world to me. I wouldn't be here without you guys. You guys motivate me to keep showing up every day. And I just love doing this and helping people. We've had my schedule's filling up right now with one-on-one sessions. A lot of folks are coming into the Discord group, lighting me up with questions, and that's what I'm here for. We're so locked in right now. Shout out to my son. He wakes me up at 4 a.m. And lately, I typically try not to look at my phone. And I don't start that because then I'm up for 30 minutes or an hour looking at my phone or looking at Twitter. And I don't need to be doing that. I need to be going back to sleep. All of my trades and orders are set, so I don't need to be checking. But, with XRP at price discovery all-time high, it makes it hard not to. And so my son wakes me up. He's been waking me up at 4 a.m. and then I go check and then I can see. But, man, I mean, it's hard to step away right now. It really is. It really is. And so get tapped in with us now. Now's the time. If you've been on the fence, don't come back here, at the beginning of next year after a cycle tops come in and you're still holding your all of your other altcoins that you are looking to exit on, looking to make a play on. Don't wait around for us to call out the next 100% gainer, the next Zabeki. I try to share everything publicly, but this is moving so quickly that I only have time to update the Discord in real time. I don't have time to make a trade and then go tell the Discord, go tell Twitter, make a YouTube video, make a TikTok. Now, if I was like the other influencers, that's what I would do, because that's how they get their exit liquidity. Is they buy the coin, then they go make a TikTok, go make a YouTube, go make a post, hammer, and let their exit orders fill. What I try to do is I try to share it out and be as open as I can with you guys, but these are moving so quickly. Corium. Sologenic's a big sleeper, and I think that Corium is too. I think that there's more upside on Sologenic than Corium, but I'm bullish on both. Okay? $1970 Legend, thank you for the 10 spot. Your hats are on the way, brother. We just got our inventory in, and we have gotten caught up on everything, and I have a hat and 2 hats and a shirt coming your way, brother. 1970 Legend, I appreciate you so much, my man. And so I told my guy, I said, let's send him I got you an XRP family. I got you an XRP family shirt on the way. And I got you a red and white Trump XRP Flex Fit to match that royal blue. And I saw you already ordered a couple other shirts as well too. So we're going to get you decked out, brother. It's on the way. It's on the way. If it wasn't sent out today, it'll be sent out tomorrow. It's on the way, brother. 100%. Daniel Gonzalez says, I'll pay $5 for Alina to be my defense attorney, XRP. Yeah, Daniel, I saw that she got fired. What was that? That's over in New Jersey. I don't know what district that is, what circuit that is, but yeah, I saw that she got fired, but then the Department of Justice fired her replacement. So the judges in that circuit, they denied Alina Hobbs from being the prosecutor or attorney or whatever it was, right? And they replaced her with somebody else, but then the DOJ fired that one. And they said, we're not going to allow rogue judges to rule over us. So it's getting spicy out there. I didn't really comment on some of the other stuff that's taking place right now with Trump and everything else. I think that it's business as usual, except an acceleration in, excuse my language, but pissing off the American people on both sides of the aisle to get everybody activated to lift the veil. Everybody left, right, no matter what you believe in, what your background is, everybody is asking for the files to be released. Everybody is now getting to see what happened with MLK. Everybody is getting to see what happened with JFK. Everybody is getting to see what happened with some other things that I won't even talk about. I've said it before, I'll say it again. President Trump does not end up on Mount Rushmore unless all of these objectives are achieved. Removing capital gains, not just from homes, not just from crypto, but reining in the IRS in a major way. Not just reviewing the Federal Reserve, reining the Federal Reserve back under the Treasury once again. Maybe eliminating the Federal Reserve completely. He doesn't get up on Mount Rushmore unless all truth is revealed. XRP Shillionaire, thank you for the 2-spot. Thoughts on XPR. Are you setting me up? This is what these guys do. They ask me about a coin, and you got these little cult communities, and they ask me about a coin so that they can clip me up. And if I say something nice, well, then they pump it up, and it's all great. But if I say something bad, then they clip me up, and then they go on the attack. And they, oh, Zach's still fading Proton. Zach's a moron. He still hasn't came in on Proton. Zach's an idiot. He still hasn't bought a Fuzzy Bear. Are you setting me up with this question about Proton? Proton. What a coin. What a coin. What a community. What a nice little credit union that they got, right? They bought a credit union, I think. You know, I'm just confused with their ecosystem because you have Proton, you have Metal, and now you have Loan. And when I was asking about yield, I made a post about yield on XRP. Somebody commented and said that they took out a loan against their XRP through the Loan protocol, which is part of that Metal ecosystem. But I'm not a big fan of ecosystems that rely on like 3 different blockchains before even one of them has gained adoption. It's kind of one of the things that I have with Sologenic and Corium, even though I'm bullish on both of them. But Sologenic was kind of already established, and then they launched Corium. And Corium has a clear utility. And I understand that Metal and Loan probably have their specific utilities. I'm assuming that loan is for loans and DeFi. I know that Metal is kind of involved in that too. And it's building on top of what Proton had, but Proton didn't have much. And so I think that it kind of convolutes the message and adoption when folks are like, okay, do I buy Proton? Do I buy Metal? Do I buy loan? And see, this is where the Proton boys are going to clip this up and make me look like an idiot. And then they're going to explain how you invest in Proton as a reserve currency for generational wealth. You take out a DeFi loan through Metal, put it through loan, and then you're doing infinite banking on Proton. You guys can clip up that one. That's the generational wealth infinite banking strategy on Proton. There you go. It's going to be front page of Twitter tomorrow. Zach Rector turns bullish on Proton. Says it's key to generational wealth and has unlocked the infinite banking Proton strategy. I love you guys. At least they give me a laugh. That's the thing I like about some of these other cult communities. And I like the guys that can talk a little smack back and forth and don't get don't get too upset when I make a joke. And I love these projects too that make up their own riddles. These projects that make up their own riddles crack me up. The Proton boys have been doing that for a long time. I've seen the Fuzzy Bears doing it too. Oh, did you see that Elon Musk posted a bear 5 years ago? And today the Fuzzy account posted a bear? It's coded, bro. Watch, the Fuzzy guys are going to clip that one up. Oh, Zach's still fading Fuzzy. I like to mess with them, Love you, Zach. I'm not shilling. Thoughts on Figma IPO? What's Figma? Is that a real thing? Or am I being trolled? Figma IPO? What are you talking about? Oh, this looks like a real company. Figma IPO seeks a $13 billion valuation with a Bitcoin investment as a sweetener. Sounds like something I would avoid. A Bitcoin investment as a sweetener. I don't need a Bitcoin investment as a sweetener. Talk about taking a leak in my coffee cup. Holy cow. Bitcoin sweetener. No, thank you. They're a design and product development software company. They think their valuation's higher than Circle. They have 13 million monthly users. Okay, maybe they're gonna be laughing at me as they go to the bank. Maybe, I don't know what this is about. Tools for online commerce and branding. The company has also invested tens of millions of its balance sheet into cryptocurrencies. Okay, that's interesting. So I'm not a fan of IPOs. I'm a fan of pre-IPO. Right? By the time the company's going public, you're being used as exit liquidity by the insiders. So I'm a fan of pre-IPO, not a fan of buying IPOs. I'm a fan of buying the dip after the company goes public. And then, obviously with Circle, there really wasn't a pullback on Circle. It just shot up. And I don't know. Let me pull up what Circle's at right now. And let's see, what's the ticker on CRCL? It's at $198 per share. Let me go. Okay, right. So it topped out at about 263. Yeah, so see, there hasn't really been a pullback yet on this IPO. And yeah, there has been, some upside. You could have bought the IPO and you could have doubled up with ease. Right? If you did buy the IPO on this one, you would be doubling up. but you got to know what you're investing in. I mean, Circle timed this thing right. They kind of started back up the IPO boom. So can Figma follow up with what they're doing? I don't know their business. I don't know what they're in. So I wouldn't be able to tell you yes or no on that one. But my general response would be never buy IPOs. Investment bankers work to create what they call a pop on IPO day. So they're going to artificially pump up the stock. And I think that that's what happened with Circle, is they made a pop from an $80 IPO to over $260 per share. Now it's consolidating at 200. Let's see how well it does. But what I worry about with Circle, see, I understand Circle's business. And Circle's business works really well and fantastic while rates are high. What do we expect to happen with rates? What did Trump say today? And what has he been reiterating? That rates should be down to 1%. Circle's business works at 1%, maybe actually, but definitely not as good as when rates are at 4 and 5%. And in fact, Circle, I think, would struggle with rates at 1%. You would see a direct reflection in correlation to their valuation based off of where interest rates are at. Right now, rates are up, they're holding. Circle valuation up and holding. When rates go down, Circle's valuation is going to go down. And I don't want to be holding that bag when that happens. Compligo, thank you for the 2 spot. Thank you for looking into that. You're welcome, my friend. You're welcome. Para Commando, thank you for the 20 spot euro. Hey, Zach, great show. I have a question. When liquidity finally flows into XRP Ledger constantly, does XRP sweep up the cost to move the asset through the XRP Ledger, or is it using the full value of the asset transferring to the XRP Ledger? So XRP is used as a bridge between every asset on the ledger. Okay? So no matter what you're trading on the XRP ledger, you will be using XRP and burning XRP. You don't burn any more XRP or use any more XRP, no matter really how much you're sending through the ledger. In real terms, you're going to be using just a little bit more if you do send a bigger transaction. But you're really not going to see much of a difference there. That's one of the benefits of the XRP ledger. No matter whether you're sending a transaction for $1 trillion or you're sending a transaction for $2, you're still, the cost of that transaction is going to be pretty much the same. Right? But I don't know if I fully understand your question as far as what you mean by that. Basically, the more activity on the ledger and the more assets and volume that people want to trade on the ledger, the more demand for the underlying asset. So the price of XRP goes up, the more people are using the XRP ledger because more people will need exposure to XRP. How many hours of sleep do you get, Zach? Let's see. So we're always up by 6, and I usually go to bed at 11. So what would that be, 7? My son will wake me up and disrupt that a little bit, maybe here and there, but he's teething right now. So, yeah, that's what we're up against right now. Yeah, I get a good, 6-7 hours at least, usually. Brad Sherman, your thoughts? I'm very bearish on Brad Sherman. Very bearish on Brad Sherman. I'll have to look into that Figma IPO. I'm going to be looking into other companies too. It's one of the benefits of being in the Discord group is you can send me your deal. Whether you're, looking to start up your own business or a side hustle, whether you're looking to buy a business, buy real estate, buy private equity, buy a meme coin, whatever it is, you can let me know and I'll be happy to conduct due diligence with you. I will not tell you to buy or sell it. I'll just tell you what I think about it. I'll be honest with you. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. If I think your business is going to fail, I'll tell you, let's fix a couple things. No, I'll try to be nice, but that's going to be so critical as we finish, kind of the end of the speculation era into utility. It's going to be up to us to put our assets to work, to reallocate towards other assets. And so you're going to want to be conducting due diligence yourself, but then also partner up with people like me and other people in our community that are happy to look over deals with you. And we're going to be syndicating deals together as well, too. BTC or ETH, Zach, what's your opinion? Anything but those ones. I mean, really, I respectively, sincerely, anything but Bitcoin or Ethereum. I just don't have interest in having exposure to those assets right now. I think that the upside on both of them is really limited. I'd rather trade the futures on Bitcoin. I would rather trade an XRP meme coin. I would rather hold other utility cryptos. I'm still bullish on HBAR. HBAR's ran up a little bit, but it's still cheap. I think that you still got good upside. What is HBAR? Still under 30 cents? And it could easily go to a couple bucks this bull run. Now look at DAG. 4 cents on its way to 40, 50 cents at least. I'm just not excited about Bitcoin or Ethereum. I respect them. I hope they pump to the moon. I still hold to a 120 to 150,000 top for Bitcoin this cycle, which is very low. I hear from people all the time that aren't even Bitcoin maxis that think that Bitcoin's going to 170 to 200,000, 250,000 this cycle. That'd be great. I don't see it. But Bitcoin has proven me wrong time and time again. So let it be. If that's what it's going to do, let it be. Does the Japan deal screw up Jake's domino theory? Well, so it's been delayed, right? If you look back to August of last year, the Japan carry trade started to unwind. And, we're checking things out here like, oh boy, this could be it. And what did the Federal Reserve do? They came in with a backstop of 50 billion on treasuries. And so did the Central Bank of Japan. And so the Central Bank of Japan keeps on kicking the can down the road. And they actually just announced additional liquidity measures. I forget exactly what it was, but it was something about they launched new liquidity pools in US dollars to help cover other debts or other loans, something like that. I forget what it was. They got basically a backstop of some sort. I've been saying this in regards to the Fed about how they've come up with so many different terms in ways in which they can inject liquidity and provide a backstop that it really doesn't matter so much as to what the tool is. It's all causing the same thing, where they're effectively kicking the can down the road and slapping a bigger Band-Aid on the patient that is bleeding out. The patient is bleeding out, and they just keep putting a bigger Band-Aid on there. And what that does is it just makes the upside on these assets higher and higher. The more of a backstop that they provide, the further they kick the can down the road, the further they're pulling back that slingshot. So when it does go, it flies. And that's what's happening for XRP. And I think that you still have a global margin call that's happening right now. That's why President Trump wants to get the rates down to 1% and fire Jerome Powell. This is a debt, currency, and liquidity crisis, part of a global margin call that's hitting everybody. Whether you're a crypto bro that's over leveraged in meme coins, or whether you're the largest institutions in the world, or whether you're central banks which are taking record losses, or whether you're the US government, which has been spending more money on your interest payments than your defense spending now. That's all part of the same global margin call. Japan facing the same issues as us. We are the best equipped to navigate this. And we just passed stablecoin legislation. What Japan needs is it needs somebody to issue tokenized yen on the XRP ledger so that they can soak up demand for their treasuries. Their bond yields are at the highest levels ever. To soak up demand for those, you need tokenized yen on the XRP ledger or a different ledger, but you need it somewhere so that you can soak up that demand like we're going to do here in the United States. You're hearing it from Scott Bessent, Howard Lutnick, President Trump, and David Sachs. Everybody in the know understands why this is a matter of national security, is because our stablecoins will unlock 2 to 3 trillion of demand for US dollar treasury bonds. Japan needs the same solution, and they need it ASAP. When do you think we are supposed to see this volume from Hidden Road? CJ, thank you for the 5 spot. I think that you're really going to see that ramp up towards the end of this year into next year. Not just Hidden Road, but broader institutional adoption and other partnerships that Ripple has that are ready to use the XRP ledger. They're just waiting for Clarity Act market structure bill to pass. That gives them the full green light. The SEC dropping their appeal, that gives them the full green light. Hidden Road, that liquidity, I believe, will start coming. It probably has already started, but I think that we're going to be in a different reality by next year. A fundamentally different reality for XRP and other cryptocurrencies that can get institutional adoption, which is the perspective that I want us all to consider as we look over all of our portfolio right now. How far is retail going to push the coin that you're in? Great. And then furthermore, where's the institutional money going to go? Is it going to come into the project that you're holding? If not, we need to sell the top of the retail inflows. We need to sell the top of the retail activity because we're not going to get ETFs and institutional adoption for whatever the coin is. Aprod, thank you for the 5 spot. Have you heard or looked into BitSensor or BitTensor? I have not. No, I don't know what that is. Another software company? Yeah, I've never heard of it. Oh, you got a coin here. Oh, TAO is the ticker. Yeah, I've never heard of it. Let me make sure I didn't miss any super chats here. Paul, thank you for the 5 spot. Hey, Zach, prediction on Link and Ondo. I don't think that Chainlink breaks $100. I will provide an update furthermore on Chainlink, a little bit more detail on it. But just I've long held that it won't break $100 this bull run. But I would look for a $50 to $75 Chainlink to come in. What's Link at right now? I don't even know if I have them on my list. I don't think I do. Let me add Link. Yeah, Link's just under $20 right now. What was that election? So what did it do? After the election, it had a 200% pump up to $31. Topped out at about 53 bucks on Coinbase here, May of 2021. Let me go to what I do is I go to CoinGecko to look at market cap. And so here's Chainlink's market cap chart. Wow, that's crazy. It really popped there. I'll have to look at that. But yeah, I mean, you know, Chainlink could easily double up from here, maybe triple up. But I don't think that we're going to see $100 link this bull run. Now, the other one that you asked me about is Ondo. I got to take another look at Ondo, Paul. It's a project that I do want to deep dive. What I don't like about Ondo isn't necessarily an issue. It's not their own fault. It's just I'm hesitant on new coins. New coins with, you know, lockup periods, VC investors, who all has tokens, what are they doing with them, what are the lockup periods. I love the partnerships that Ondo's getting, but it's tough to chart a coin too once it's new, right? There's only so much history to go off of with Ondo. And so it's a new coin. It already topped out. How much more upside is there on it? I do think it's limited. It doesn't look to be one of the better opportunities for me, but I will follow up on that, Paul. Thank you. Para asks, sorry, Zach, I have another question. With full constant liquidity flowing through the XRP ledger, will that make the overbought, oversold RSI redundant? Yeah, so I think that what you're trying to get at is kind of, will that volume across the XRP ledger help uphold XRP's price? I think it will, right? You're not going to have these huge fluctuations in price. It'll just be a steady constant. And especially as all of the derivatives products are out, the ETFs are out, everybody who wants exposure to XRP will be able to get it. If you want to go long XRP, you will be able to. If you want to go short XRP, you'll be able to. You want to invest in XRP through your 401k, buy an ETF, buy spot, you'll be able to. And once the institutional adoption's here, that volume's consistent, it would keep XRP's price in a much more consistent range. It's not going to be as volatile as it has been in years past. Volatility is opportunity for traders. I think that what many of us are looking for is kind of just a sustained price with steady continued growth, right? We don't want to see this thing pump like a meme coin. We just want to, see that steady increase in that trajectory of that price higher and higher from real adoption, real utility, real volume. And I do think that that is coming. 100%. Okay? All right, guys. Hey, one last quick reminder before we go. If you are interested in the crypto estate planning session, it's going to be exclusive for my Discord community. That's going to be coming up here with Mark Kohler, one of the best in the game here when it comes to estate planning and for cryptocurrencies, your businesses, everything else, real estate, etc. This is one of the best in the game. And so we're going to bringing him in for a special session exclusively for our Discord community. Head on over to my Patreon, sign up there to get access to Discord, and then get signed up for this session. That's going to be coming up probably in the next month or so. We don't have a locked in date yet, but we're just getting our list of attendees ready to go. And then we're going to get all of our questions and comments over to Mark and his team. They're going to be ready to answer them. And I am really excited for this segment. I'm also excited for the rest of the value that we're bringing to our community over there. So once again, sign up through Patreon to get access to Discord. Everything is available at zachrector.com. We have the new hats are going to be available on the website, the shop. That's going to be live in the next 24 hours. And make sure you come on back for Thursday night's live show. We're going to be giving away dog tags. We're going to be giving away hats. It's going to be a lot of fun. You're not going to want to miss it. In XRP, it might be over $4. Might even be moving towards $5, huh? What do you guys say? On the way out, let's make sure we smack it and tap it. Let's share out our content far and wide. Everything's at ZachRector.com. I appreciate all of you guys. Have a great night. God bless you all. Thank you so much.